Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So back up this morning, and it's time to get that second layer of fertilization down. And the good news is we're seeing no weeds, so that plan will work. I'm thinking I might use the liquid fert rather than the solid fert. I don't know why I used the solid last time, just because it was there and it was a little easier to control, but all right. So we've got 0. Well, probably because of herbicide. So let me get this filled up so that I can appropriately do my work. So yeah, it's herbicide over there. Just trying to kind of make sure that I have the right tank, because I'm still trying to get used to things. You know, the seed and the lime look different, and, well, as does the solid fert. Obviously, you know, remembering that these two are liquid tanks certainly helps. All right. So, 5,200 liters. We are topped off and good to go. So, speaking of liters, since last night, again, we filled and basically logged off 7 hours ago. The pigs have eaten between 7,000 and 8,000 liters of food. So yeah, 32,000 liters is not going to make it 6 days. So I am going to have to get more food. But obviously that means they're eating more food. So, yeah, it's just going to be interesting on the crops and so forth of like how easy or not easy it's going to be to keep them going and then to be able to do other things, which definitely, you know, if I can keep it in my head enough, really is going to determine. I'm trying to tell. I think we're getting darker. I always love this, where you can't quite tell what's happening. But let's see if I can go to the map. Alright, I may have a width problem again. Let me just... Okay. Just verify this is functioning. Because I was striping again. Alright, well that did, oh goodness, clean it up. I don't understand why it's so difficult to stay on these fields. Yeah, I mean, I missed that little piece up at the top, but that's okay. So, alright, I was looking at my counter on my GPS, so I'm like, I think I set my tracks up, and I did. Just, I have to remember how wide these tracks are, so it takes a bit of time to get there. So yeah, I'll have to touch up the end again. But this should be all good and get this fertilized. So going back to the pigs, you know, at this point, I mean, at this point, it's almost like they're emptying it in 2 days, which seems crazy fast. I really didn't think I was filling things that much, but perhaps I was. I do not know. But, alright. So let me get across here. And then we are set. Alright, so I'll go back, finish off that end. I think I can get by with the headland up here. Well, actually, that's right. I am running north-south a little bit, but not like the entire way. Because then here I'll go across again. Well, actually I might not, because once again I'm fertilizing everything. So I do need to be aware of that. Alright. I'm trying to recall. I think it was near, yeah, pretty much right near the root crops. So I think if I don't want to miss something, I'll just start at this point. And once again, it's extra application because of the goofiness. And, you know, what ended up happening, I believe, is because I had changed the width when I was spraying with the herbicide, it's like anytime you do any change, even though when I looked at it, obviously, it showed full. You know, I'm not sure if I put that away, kind of being in the state of partial spraying. So what I think happens is I put it away when I had a smaller spray path. I think I had it down to 15 meters or, you know, maybe even just 25, but, you know, because it was still spraying a good swath there. And I think then what happens is you go away, it saves it, but that setting isn't visually saved. So it's like there's a problem in the mod or whatever it is that in, you know, whatever the save game file is that saves all this stuff. It knows for the actual function of the tool that I'm at a partial width of spraying. But when I am on that help menu that shows me what my spray width is, it showed 33 meters. Like, it showed that it was full, but I basically then need to cycle it back to actually get it to 33 meters, because the setting is saved, but whatever it takes to show me the proper setting is not, if that makes sense. So that when I pull up the menu, even though the machine is set at a smaller working width, it's showing me that it's set at a full working width, which is a lie, and then creates that striping problem that we had several years ago that then, you know, was like, oh, I can't use liquid fert in certain sequences. And, you know, then I think I stumbled upon, let me just try to change this, and look, it seems to have solved it. And once again, when I saw it reappear, I now knew what the fix was to get rid of the problem, and it did appear to work. I don't know. I mean, the sorghum's really kind of pretty, honestly, as far as it's just like a fine plant, but bright green. So it's just a lot more pleasing when you look at the texture of this on the field compared to a lot of other crops, I think. I mean, interesting. It's just like really jumping out at me like, wow, this is a really nice looking field. Like, I feel like I'm really growing something here, where I think on the other ones, especially the first few stages, it's so sparse. I mean, keep in mind, I mean, this is the first growth stage that I can see plant. So this isn't like it's been growing for several months. You know, obviously we have stage 1, which is planted and growing underground, and then this is stage 2. And I don't remember again which one was 4, which one was 5, which one was 6 as far as the growth stages. I want to say the sorghum, I think, was the quick one, so I think it only has 4 growth stages. So we're halfway done, basically, and maybe that's why it's kind of a fuller plant, because it just does have an accelerated growth compared to other crops. Because I think the soybeans were 6, and the potatoes were 5. So I think I'm recalling correctly. Alright, 1 pass down the field, done. 10 more to go. I don't remember how wide this is and how this works with the sprayer. But it's a lot. How about that? So, I'm going to go ahead, get this done, because I think kind of artificially chatting, maybe I'll pop in when I get over, that's what I'll do. When I get over kind of on the other end of this vertical, where I'm going through all 3 crops, I'll pop back for a bit to kind of get you that experience of moving from sorghum to potato to soybean, or vice versa, depending on which way I'm going. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so back here, as I promised, to kind of go through the pass that takes us through all our crops. So a little bit cut up, but you can see the broken, the broken dirt, or the dirt boundaries. So we've got this one, and then the one to the left and the one above, I guess, separating the potatoes from the sorghum. And then there's the longer line up above, separating the sorghum from the soybeans. And then, other than that, the field's fully planted. So I think in an overall view, I did a pretty good job. There is that one little piece there that I knew I had missed. I was hoping maybe it might somehow grow over, but that's alright. It's probably a couple liters. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, transferring from the sorghum to the potatoes. And the potatoes look pretty good, but obviously potato plants are bigger. They're the tops that get removed, but the piece of the harvester we've got does I think the halum topper is what they call it, is included, so we don't have to worry about that. And as you can see from the quantity, I did, before this, had to go refill the sprayer, but we are well past halfway on the field, so I do not anticipate consuming everything that's left in the sprayer yet again. But, we'll see. But we basically obviously have kind of one more pass and then a little bit probably in that piece that's sticking out. But one more pass down here will get the majority of this done, and then we've just got that little nub it's not so little, but that's sticking out over there that I'll take care of. So now we're back into the sorghum, and then we will slowly get into the soybeans. So the soybeans are even darker green, but maybe that's the thing, they're not as bright, so they don't jump out as much as the sorghum does. But and they're clearly sparser, but once again, that is the, I think, 6th growth stage plant, so there's a lot of stuff to still happen with the soybeans. But there you go. So we have now moved through all our options on the field. So I'll get this finished up. And we'll see where we end up. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, let me take a look at the map real quick. I know we're done with that. There's nothing else. It's plowing, mulching, stones. Somehow we ended up with a couple little stones that didn't get handled there. Don't know why. Not quite sure how that all worked out. But yeah, up there we're okay. So looking at the pigs, again, we're a little over 8 hours in from where we stopped before. They've produced 9,000 liters of slurry, and they've consumed, you know, we were at 33,000 something. So again, about 8 to 9,000 liters of food. So they're basically, I don't know, turning around and giving as much slurry as they eat, which seems weird, but hey, you know, it's a computer simulation, so maybe it was just easier to do that. But at this point, I've got done what I can get done other than the odds and ends of moving things. You know, things being the honey that I've not touched in a while. Not sure if I'm gonna attempt that. If I do, I may simply tell you about it, because I think I've had enough episodes where I'm just putting things on pallets, you know, or I'll append the end to the beginning or the end of whatever episode it is that I work on it in. So we'll get some base repairs done. And we've now gone below 1.2 million. So another milestone, not such a good one, but we will be getting, you know, 36 pigs sold in a couple months. So, and then, you know, we'll just have to figure out once we start using the crops, how everything looks at that point. So my intent at this point, as I'm thinking through it, is basically, you know, I'm going to see the first load if basically it's, you know, I just need to divide it manually, which I think is what is the situation, if I recall. That's kind of how it worked whenever I've done it in FS19, where I was working with things just more on single player maps, where I had like a TMR mixer, for example, and it was like, hey, it's 33% this, and then it's like if you dumped in way too much of the first item, like there just wasn't any capacity to deal with the other pieces, and so you could never get the proper mix if you did that. So I'm assuming this is something like that, where in essence, you know, the TMR mixer is in their stomach, where it's like, hey, throw all these things in there and I'll be good. So I think that's in essence what's being modeled. Alright, I'm going to actually leave that Massey there, because I don't know what the next job is that I would really need. We're not going to need to weed. We're not going to need to, I think, do anything else. So assuming that is accurate, it means I've got basically 3 days till I'm going to have activity here from a crop standpoint. Now, I may have activity from an animal standpoint. I'm sure at some point I'll go ahead and get the honey done. It's just not going to be now, because my next thing on my list is to get field 11 plowed with the FSN plowing and get that completed. And again, if there's something to see there, I'll add it to the end of this video. You know, as far as, I'm sure I'll just, you know, give you a view of, hey, this is what the world looks like over here at field 11. But that's kind of my next thing, and that's still likely going to take an hour or two of work. And so with that facing me right now, the thought of jumping into any kind of honey is not what I'm looking to be doing. So with that, you know, we're all set here. Again, end of spring at this point, year 86. This is the last day. So we'll be jumping into summer, If you're looking at the little icons on my videos, you're going to see, a little bird here for spraying, and I've got little other icons that hopefully are going to be self-evident over time that I've added to the calendar to cover summer, fall, and winter. And then you'll more easily be able to follow along. So if you have a happy season that you like to see things on the farm, you'll be more easily able to pinpoint those videos and jump in as appropriate. But doing what I can to make the videos a little bit more accessible and useful to folks. I know, in a perpetually running farm, there's a lot that shows up. And so I certainly appreciate the possibility that while I am making all of them, so I have to watch them all and live them all to get them to you. You, on the other hand, have choices and probably are not going to watch hundreds of videos, even though I would encourage you to. I'd love it. I'd love if you'd follow along and watch everything, but I also understand the reality of life and that you don't exist just to see what I'm putting out. So I will cut off with that, and I'll see you next time.